Hey everybody, this is Noel Pulanco with Mike Stout. Say hi, Mike.
Hey, Mike.
This is the Big Guys Biz Show, and we've got an old affiliate, friend, associate, and fellow NARPA member, George Phillips from Just In Time Moving and Storage. Hi, George.
How's it going, guys?
George.
Good. Did I see somewhere? Is it Giorgio or George?
So yeah, my given name is Giorgio. But I go by George. For some reason, people can't pronounce Giorgio. I don't know what it is.
But it's because it's with Phillips. If it was like Giorgio
Armani.
fellow Polonian,
Yeah,
we would know. It doesn't look squared up with Phillips, right?
exactly. Yeah, it just doesn't compute.
So
And
from now on, you're going to be Armani.
yeah.
Armani. Okay.
Well, and I've known you for a few years, and at the last, where did I see you? At the Weimar Expo. I called you the wrong name like 4 times. So
That's right. I get called Justin all the time. We all do in the office. So
yeah, well, wasn't there somebody named Justin had a moving company? I thought.
it's my boss. Yeah.
There you go.
That's
So I fought through the Jameson there a little bit and had some memory. Anyhow, so how long have you guys been moving and storing in the valley?
yeah. So we've been around since May of 2005. So we just celebrated 18 years this past May.
Wow.
So yeah, it's pretty awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, I've only been doing real estate about that long, so we got in at the same time. That's great. And last time I saw you, you were on your way to Chicago, I think, for a professional conference. And was it for stuff about moving?
Oh, so I'm trying to remember. I've been on a number of trips this year, and I got back from Washington D.C. or went to Washington D.C. for our industry's call on Washington.
That's what it was. That's
Yep.
what it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what were you doing there? You're talking legislation, advocacy, those kind of things?
Yeah, talking to our elected officials just about things that are interesting in our industry and things that we would like to see get pushed along and get pushed through the finish line. Some that we've talked about for a couple years, and they keep telling you it's close. And
So besides robot, electric, automated driving, what are you guys trying to push through? Like, give us something that is kind of a pain point right now that you guys are fighting and advocating
yeah,
for.
yeah, absolutely. The rogue operator probably is the biggest issue in our industry, and that's really in Arizona that you and I know right now can go rent a truck and we could be a moving company, and it's good for business. Unfortunately, it's not good usually for the end consumer. That usually kind of is where that kind of that move goes sideways. Someone might quote somebody a very low rate, and then all of a sudden when it goes to deliver, there's a lock on the truck, and then someone has their hand out going, "Hey, it's not going to be $1,000. It's going to be an additional $3,000 for us to unload."
They
And
tried
so,
to do that to me 10 years ago. Yeah. And this was a company that had a website and everything. So
yeah.
is that like common thing that people are hiring somebody that looks cheap and maybe does an ad on Facebook and doesn't know that they're not legit?
Yeah, it's interesting. No, people. I always say people are have got their mover down and are professional on their mover after the move, not before the move. And so they're doing all their research on the guy after they've kind of unfortunately screwed him over.
Mhm.
I tell people all the time, like as soon as you know you're moving, that's the best time to call a mover, because sometimes that can be a sticker shock, especially if you're moving across state lines where there is regulation. And so where somebody does have to have a DOT number, a motor carrier number, has to follow certain regulations and things like that, which aren't normal for those that just regulate within the state of Arizona.
So don't call the mover 2 days before the move.
Yeah, that happens quite a bit, unfortunately, and your heart breaks because you want to help them, but there's just no availability.
Yeah.
And a company like ours with 25 trucks and almost 70 employees, we just can't. We can't. We're just guys are going, and so it's hard to even for us to kind of turn on a dime to help somebody like that.
Well, sure. And that's never the way that you want to plan something as drastic and challenging and involved as
Yeah,
moving your home from one location to another.
exactly. Yeah, and
Um,
add on additional stress.
yeah, for sure.
Well,
So
I'm sensing when I moved here from Texas, I did something wrong. Huh.
Let's hear about it, Mike. What happened?
Oh, well, I think I waited, yeah, maybe a week,
Mhm.
maybe. And I experienced what you both were talking about when I got my stuff here. Oh, did I tell you it was going to be this much? Yeah, well, you can have your stuff or it can just sit here in the truck. And, I wanted my stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they had
Well,
that. I filmed the whole thing, yelled at the guy, but so what?
yeah.
Maybe we should post that, Noel.
Yeah, if you have the video, let's get it.
Well, but back in 2017, so our industry did go to work along with the help of the Arizona Trucking Association's president over there. They were a huge advocacy partner for us here locally. So back in 2017, we did get a law that we are able to move across the books. Tony Bradley's his name, president of the Arizona Trucking Association. It's called a hostage load shipment.
Yeah.
With concerning hostage loads. So that's a law in the book in the Arizona Arizona laws, and so it's not a civil matter. There's certain ways that it should be handled, and that police officers should help enforce that a little bit better. And the message is trying to get that out to those folks, and so that's kind of where we're at right now.
Well, I think I was telling you the story when it happened to me. It was probably, I don't know, 13 years ago now. And talked to the guy multiple times. He told me he's a pilot over at Deer Valley, blah, blah, blah. This was kind of before I felt like you had to do like review searches on people. I think Yelp was pretty new back then. Even Google reviews, which by the way, I'm happy to share reviews with you guys. But we show up to the house. It's supposed to be this amount. I get out, of course, he's nowhere to be found. He's not answering his phone, and his guys are saying, hey, I'm sorry, but we can't unload without this much more in cash right now. And literally, I think I told you this, I'm wearing like a cutoff shirt and I have my firearm on my hip just because I wanted it in the car with me. And I'm like, you guys are going to pull this when I'm literally holding a weapon and my tattoos are blazing. I'm like moving into a nice new neighborhood. It already looks bad enough. Like, don't make me draw down on you out here. But yeah, I mean, who do you call if something like that's going on? Do you get the police involved? I mean, what do you do?
Yeah, so the police, your local police department should be able to help, but our two regulatory agencies in the state of Arizona are the Arizona Attorney General's office and the Arizona Department of Public Safety's Commercial Vehicle Enforcement Division. There's complaint sections on both of their websites. Those two kind of work really in concert together to help fight those bad actors that are in our industry.
But that sounds like something you'd have to do after the fact. Hopefully, once you got your
yeah, but in the meantime, I always tell everybody call it your local police department. The local police department should come out in that. And then on our website, actually the moving association. So 3 years ago, our company was one of the founding members with a number of other reputable, great companies in the state of Arizona. Started a moving association. So the AZ Moving Association, that's moversaz.org. And so we have a consumer resource page on there. We've been trying to kind of blast out and trying to give everybody information on that too. So
awesome. So as I'm taking over the state chapter of NARPM, I mean, the whole goal of that specific chapter is advocacy for our industry.
Yep.
And that includes our affiliates. So I think that's really, really cool and sets you apart from probably a lot of people in your business that are really fighting and staying on top of what the laws are and how they affect us, the consumer. Because those groups that you belong to, I mean, that's their job, is to protect us, right? Not you.
Yeah, absolutely. And we try to stay engaged, not only just with things going on moving, but also, as part of the real estate, we're one of the, I forgot what they call us, like partners.
Affiliate partners. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I also picked up, and I think I asked you about it when we were at the realtor convention. So you do international moving as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we just started doing that about a year ago, and
Okay.
so it was interesting because we were talking with some partners that are in Mexico doing moving, and they go, "Hey, we'd love to find a way to work with you. We're hiring people and calling companies out of San Diego and California to come over to do moves in Arizona." Like, we've got a lot of great companies here. I mean, ours included, but we've got a lot of great companies who could easily help with those moves. There's no reason to call somebody from 6, 8, 10 hours away to come over and complete those moves. We can help you here.
So have you done some Mexico moves?
Yeah, we've done a couple down to Mexico. We're in the process of quoting a job right now to Germany.
Wow.
We've probably got, I think, 18 or 20 international moves right now going on quoting. And so
So Mike, you know what I'm going to ask, right?
I'm waiting. I was probably going to ask it.
How the heck do you drive a moving truck to Germany?
So that's interesting. So yeah, so we primarily have prided ourselves on doing a dedicated move with a dedicated crew and a truck. And so obviously,
Yeah, you can't send them to Germany, right?
yeah, international is a little bit different. So I think that's the important part about being plugged in your associations. And so we're part of not only the American Trucking Association's Moving and Storage Conference, we're also part of the International Association of Movers. And so that was the other conference we just got back from in Toronto a few weeks ago. And it's really trying to, build partnerships with folks from over 116 countries that were there in Toronto a couple weeks ago. And so, having confidence once we put it on that barge to kind of go across that you've got partners that are going to get that, take it off, and then handle it with the same care as you loaded it.
Yeah, trusted partner, right? That's the whole
Absolutely. Point. Yeah, and that's actually IAM. That was their whole slogan for this conference was the power of trust, and being an IAM trusted member. And so our owners went through that program. He calls it kind of like a collegiate course on moving. He said it was probably the most intense thing he's ever done.
Yeah. So. Yeah. I mean, just trying to figure out how everything works with the handoff. I could see that could be challenging, but now that you guys got it nailed down, I mean, once that one's pulled off, you can kind of go anywhere, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. We tell anybody, anything moving, we want to be at least be a resource or in the conversation.
Now tell me a little bit, like, what are you guys doing on the storage? Is it in between moves? Are you doing long-term? What's the storage aspect?
So short-term, long-term, our storage is kind of, I call it like a concierge white glove. It's not your typical self-storage. So our owner came from self-storage. That's how he started the business. Over 18 years ago, was working a self-storage business, was a manager there. Had folks going, hey, listen, we don't really trust our movers. Can you hang out overnight with us to do that, to, be there to help facilitate the move? And, at that time they were able to do it. Now, we're part of the Arizona Self-Storage Association. They highly recommend their managers not to do that. And so they're not allowed to hang out after. And so,
yeah, I mean, I would think the liability is kind of weird there.
100%. Yeah, absolutely. So ours is all warehouse and vault storage. And so it's all in warehouse. We have 3 different warehouses we operate out of, and everything's out of wooden vaults. And so they're 5 by 7 by 7 wooden vaults, and we've got them neatly stacked in in rows and 2 levels. And so I always target, they've never seen it. I always invite folks over for a tour. I'm happy to tour folks with that. So if no one's seen it, it's totally different. I always tell everybody, you don't type in your 7 or 9 digit code or whatever else to get in. You got to give us 24-hour access to pull down your vault and open it. And then, we have somebody there with you to kind of go through your vault, and then they put it back together and then put it away. And so.
Interesting. Very cool.
Yeah. It's a totally boutique type storage. And so,
So I'm assuming you guys are mostly doing residential, personal type stuff. Are you guys doing any big equipment, heavy hauls, anything like that? Or is it all residential type?
Yeah. Most of it right now, most of our business is, residential, commercial, and then, local, long distance, and international. But, no large, equipment or no heavy hauling. We run everything off of 26-foot box trucks. Okay. And so we're limited on some things, but, we have worked with, like home builders on, getting some of their equipment or things that they may need necessary.
Or materials or supplies or whatever.
Yep. Absolutely.
Okay. So that's kind of the commercial side of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. That and a commercial move if someone needs to move an office or whatnot.
Now, do you actually drive? Do you have your CDL, or are you just
so none of our trucks are CDL required.
Okay.
But I do. I have my safety card, and I go for my yearly exam to make sure I'm up to snuff to still drive the trucks if needed. So it's just one of those things as a small business. Any of us are ready to go at any time if needed.
Yeah, that's great. So you said you've got 25 trucks and 70 employees. How many moves are you guys doing on a weekly basis?
Oh man, that is a good question. Obviously,
Surprise! You
yeah,
weren't ready for that one.
obviously dependent on the season.
Sure.
But
Do you, so on that, just because I'm on the real estate side, and
yeah,
Mike is obviously too with his background checks. Obviously, we slow down in the winter, but in Arizona, we don't slow down nearly like. Maybe that's why I keep coming up with Chicago. You're from Chicago, right? Is that what
I'm
it is?
originally from Chicago. Yeah.
Yeah. So people don't move in the winter in Chicago because it's freaking freezing and
Yes.
it's icy and all of that. But in Arizona, they still move.
Yep.
But I'm sure you guys see, what is the busiest times, like end of spring and end of summer, kind of?
Yeah, our busy season is always summertime. So
Yeah.
it's usually, April and May, we start picking up and then start slowing down. August, kind of September. And then for some crazy reason, December kind of spikes up for us. I think maybe end of year type of deal.
We always get a couple of late rental moves, or I've even had a couple of sales right at the end of December.
Yep.
I'm like, how are you planning this? Like, I don't get it, but
They weren't.
yeah, exactly. And like I said, that's one thing about Arizona is people kind of move
all
year long. But yeah, I'm sure you got to gear up for those busy times for sure.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Those are our busy times. I mean, we usually book a couple, 2, 3, 4 weeks out even during the summer. And so,
I would think your guys would appreciate if people would move in the winter. And
yeah. And that's the other good part. We work with a lot of the senior communities and 55 plus neighborhoods, and so that always helps too. As a lot of our snowbirds come back or winter visitors come back, we can kind of help facilitate those moves during the winter, and so it kind of has helped kind of peak us back up a little bit during those normal slower times.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I think it's awesome. I know that you can always trust another NARPA member because we hold each other to ethics and standards. And I know you've been with NARPA a long time. You're one of the original, at least, companies. I've known you for a couple of years now, but original companies that was there when I first started a long time ago with Mike. So I definitely know that you're a name that we can trust. Mike, do you have any questions for Mr. George?
The only thing I can think of is you mentioned moves in Mexico. Have you seen or noticed any differences in the ability to cross with an open border versus maybe more of a closed border? Or maybe it's not even affecting anything at all like that. I don't know.
Our partners, we rely heavily on our partners
Okay.
that kind of really have done that. They said they have seen some kind of some snags or whatnot, but I think they have pretty good relationships over there. Things are taking a little bit longer, but for the most part, we kind of rely that heavily on them to really take care of that.
I think they call that greasing the wheels. I'm just kidding. There's plenty of business that goes back and forth. I've got virtual assistants in Rocky Point, so getting back and forth when you're doing business, they kind of know what to look for. And I'm sure you guys aren't looking like Los Pollos Hermanos guys crossing the border. So
yeah. And listen, it helps having good relationships and consistently doing those back and forth. And we partnered with a great company who has those relationships, which is helpful.
Well, and that would be a scary thing. I mean, moving international anywhere, but especially in a country like that where there's good and bad stuff going on there, you definitely want to know that your partner and who you're hiring has got good partners and people they can trust too. So I think that's amazing that you guys have sorted that out. It's really cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, that is all I got. George, I really appreciate you joining us on the Big Guys Biz Show.
Thank you guys very, very much. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So your contact info has been on here all the time, this whole video, but one last recommendation: how soon should somebody contact you? As much time as possible, 30 days, 60 days. Like, what's best for you guys?
I tell everybody, as soon as you know you're moving, that's always the best time to call the office. You always want to get an estimate, an in-home estimate. Those are free for us. We can do those. We want to get an eye on exactly what you're moving, so we can kind of better help for you to decide, are you going to be in one truck? Are you going to be in 2 trucks, or 2 trucks to 3 trucks, or, how you can kind of pare that down.
Well, we all think you can get it on one truck, right?
What's that?
If you do it right.
All of your customers think you can get it on one truck.
Oh yeah. One truck, couple hours, no big deal.
Yeah, for sure. Well, that is great advice. Plan ahead, plan in advance, get you guys out there to get the true number.
That way there's no surprises.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, that real bad experience I had moving, they just asked me what I had over the phone and ended up trying to, jack me around when we got there. So don't do that.
It never works. And I always
Yeah.
tell everybody, make sure whoever you're using, they are a hauler. They do transport. They're not a broker. Brokers in our industries, unfortunately, just don't work.
So I know we're trying to wrap this, but we have.
I'm sorry.
No, we have as much time as we want. So tell me about the broker. Is that where they're hiring these guys, these one-off guys to?
So
just
a lot of what you guys talked about earlier with your situations, a lot come from brokers. The broker, you'll call a broker, they'll go, oh, you're going to move my stuff? Yeah, I'm going to move it. And then they take a let's say $1,500 fee. And then all of a sudden, and then the moving company, they go find whoever. They don't care they don't care the reputation of Just in Time or any other great movers that we have in Arizona. They just go out and find somebody to haul the shipment, and they don't care how it gets there, when it gets there, because they've already got their broker fee. They're going to hand it off to the transporter, the hauler, and then the hauler is going to complete the move. And then that's where a lot of things, the communication goes sideways, and people are signing blank contracts, and it's like, don't ever sign a blank contract. Make sure numbers are filled in and details are there. And ask questions and look at reputations, and I'm happy to, I'll give you there's a link where you can look up a moving company to make sure that they're a legit moving company. They actually have the DOT number and that motor carrier and stuff like that. So do your research.
Yeah, send me that and I'll make sure that it's showing right now in the video.
Yep, awesome.
Well, all real good stuff. Trust whoever's doing your background checks, trust your realtor, your property manager, and definitely do your research and find a moving company. It's the most painful thing you will do, even harder than the loan docs and shopping for a house. The moving part is just no fun. So you definitely want to get somebody that you know and trust and is going to do a good job and take at least some of that stress off of the table during that very, very challenging thing. Moving sucks. It's no fun. So make sure you partner up and get the right people to do it. George, thanks, man. I appreciate you. Anybody that is interested, if you got a small business, a local business, even an international business, Mike and I would love to chat with you on the Big Guys Biz Show. And George, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks a lot, Mike.
Thanks, George.